both sides as they get ready for this one and count down to tip off. Exciting time to be here in Mackay. A 28-degree day, beautiful weather outside the stadium. Can't wait to get out there later on when I clock off from the commentary shift and have a look around town, because it's a beautiful place to be.
Oh, it certainly is, and it was great to have a day off as well up here in Mackay, Sean. I got around and, took in the sun, and as a Victorian, I'll tell you what, that was much needed.
Well, plenty of messages from mates down south as well, talking about the 12-degree rainfall happening over the last couple of days. We haven't had any of that to worry about up here.
Yeah, no good at all.
Been beautiful.
And we've got the traditional state rivalry, if you like, in this one. Queensland versus New South Wales.
Absolutely.
Blues versus Maroons.
We can borrow a couple of rugby league parlances here, I think. State versus state. Perhaps not mate versus mate. We'll soon find out. It's Jones for Queensland in the jump. Up against McWilliams. Neither really got a decisive hit, but Queensland will get the first possession, and that is Le Gassick. Nice floating shot, doesn't quite hit it there. It was Maslin. New South Wales now, moves their way down the court with his Abbott. And Watcher. Shot put up there. It was Kilminster. No, new shots early. Oh, and there a loose pass. Great steal from Abbott. He stripped of it though, straight away. Max McKinnon. He's been an important player through this tournament. He's stamping himself on this one early. Here he is, McKinnon. After Maslin. That would be 2, but it doesn't fall. And Watcher loses a handle on it, and Queensland calls the turnover. It'll be Queensland now. Gassick will bring it down the floor. Good player in this corner as well. They've had some stars, Queensland. This man leading it, Jones, and he makes the 3 points. Well, you have a look at the size of him and you think he shouldn't be able to do those sorts of things, but his stats line for the tournament proves otherwise. He's leading the points average 19 for the tournament. For Queensland has a great bit of play from Abbott there. Lovely move for New South Wales. But there's Jones for Queensland, averaging 19 points, 9.5 rebounds as well. So he has been a dominant figure.
Yeah, no surprise to see Jones in the thick of it this tournament. Currently playing for the Brisbane Bullets in the NBL and a previous member of the NBA Global Academy. So his pedigree is well known, Jones.
Super player, and it's been great to see him dominate this tournament so far. And this is Riladov, who's gone to the line for Queensland. Makes the first. Here in the early stages of this quarter, Queensland feeling their way into it. Queensland with the 5-2 lead. Good play from New South Wales. They passing it around perfectly there, and it was Morris that finished it off the play with a nice finish inside the paint. So New South Wales getting the ball through plenty of sets of hands there. Gassick, nice move. Just doesn't get the roll he was after. And the rebound's pulled down by Abbott. A bit of stopper skills. Unfortunately, the Kilminster didn't work.
Great pass, Boston Maslin.
3 and makes it, as you said, beautifully assisted there from Maslin. Fantastic vision to find Gassick out on his own. He chops it up there, and Morris. Made and McKinnon brings it back down the court, loses the handle of it. Backed up at the moment. Morris, nice little pass off to Abbott, and he finishes well under immense pressure. And New South Wales on their way to 6 points. And it's steady after Queensland got to a bit of a fast start.
Great defensive play there from Morris. Veteran for New South Wales. This is his fifth AJC championship he's attended.
And the charge called there on Queensland. So it'll be a turnover, and the bench for New South Wales up and about on that call. As you mentioned, Liam, some experience in AJC championships, and it counts for a lot when we get to under-20s. We've mentioned already in previous broadcasts that there are players who sometimes get here for the first time. So to have 4 or 5 tournaments under the belt makes a big difference, and particularly when you get to these points of the tournament where it starts to get a bit more serious. Quarter-final day, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, you know, a little bit of continuity for these teams. Maybe some of these players have played with each other before, when they all come from different representative clubs and schools and the like. It does help to have those sort of, you know, previous sample size or experience playing alongside each other at in previous years at these tournaments.
Certainly does. And you see players who come through the 16s, 18s and then into the 20s quite often, particularly early in games, and they're able to find their feet. The nerves aren't as much of a factor. All players, though, of course, will be a little nervous, would have been a little nervous coming to this tournament after the year off last year, which is why everyone involved in basketball in this country is so happy to have these championships back in play. And a big thank you to Mackay, who are able to put on such a fantastic tournament and be part of the return to the court, which we all longed for after a difficult year last year, of course. Fantastic to be here. And into the exciting time of the tournament. And we've got the traditional rivalry here, Queensland and New South Wales. A very long-range shot is put up there from Kilminster and made, if you don't mind. And he puts New South Wales in front. Still early in this first quarter. Very impressive shooting there.
Yep, you've got to defend him from anywhere within the quarter court. He can seriously go.
There's Jones, the man we spoke of earlier. Well stopped from New South Wales on this occasion. And he's going to get back down the court. There's his crouch up. Across to Abbott. Nice piece of play inside. It's missed, but he might get another chance. He does. And McWilliams finishes it off.
Nice dish there from Kilminster as well.
He's getting busy early, Kilminster, after that long-range three-pointer. Getting his hands in a couple of different plays. New South Wales putting a bit of pressure on the Queensland team as Jones goes again from 3-point range. He misses this one. It's recovered down low, though.
Gee. Disappointing for New South Wales. They had about 3 defenders there ready to bring down the rebound, and
Maslin.
Yeah, it's just fallen into his arms. Slipped out.
You can see there, they've basically spoiled each other. Disappointing, as you mentioned, for New South Wales. Maslin happy to take the opportunity, draw the foul, and now finish off his good work.
13.5 points per game so far in this tournament. 19-year-old, one of the veterans and more experienced players in this Queensland team.
That's both. Foul shot to get his team off to a good start from the foul line. And Jackson brings the ball down. A quick pass to New South Wales. This is Kilminster. What a move that was. Very athletic, right to the basket.
Yeah, hot start to the game for Evan Kilminster. You said it before, Sean. He continues that.
Queensland again. Lost the handle of the ball under the rim. Very warm conditions here in Mackay today. This time the three-pointer is put up, and that was McWilliams. And New South Wales are off to a bit of a flyer now at 16-10. Very high scoring early. This is Panisi. Panisi puts in the nice three-pointer. Their underrated bigs, Panisi. He was impressive in a couple of the full games. And he started this one well too. Here's Abbott. In move, dead end. Kicks it out. McWilliam. This is it. And Queensland will recover the ball. So it's been an exciting start to this game. 16-13. Still 4 minutes on the clock in this first quarter. Fantastic. Running it down. Here's Panisi again for 2 in a row, and he does. Panisi off to a hot start from the arc. Another three-pointer for Queensland, and draws them level. 16 apiece here in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's the 4th three-pointer already for this Queensland team.
Abbott looking to answer back. Can't find the mark. And McKinnon dragged in the rebound. Max McKinnon. Impressive player. He's averaged 17 points a game as well in this tournament. Great foil for Jones. Here's Le Gassick from the three-point arc. And he hits it as well. So, it's an absolute hot start from the Queensland team. The boys in Maroon shooting from everywhere and making it work at the moment. As Watcher drives to the basket and he draws a foul. He'll go to the line for 2 for New South Wales. Try to dent this three-point momentum that Queensland have built. An important piece of play for New South Wales. They needed to come down the floor and score here after 3 in a row from Queensland. So Watcher. Another one who is experienced at this level. Here, though. Great rebound work from New South Wales, and it's Morris who finishes it off nicely. So both three thrusts missed, but the recovery from New South Wales means they take the 2 points out of that possession anyway. Big turnaround as Panisi finds McKinnon. Nice drive, and either McKinnon or tipped in by Jones, depending on who was a favourite for the stats, is who will get those points. I think that one was probably rolling in anyway. As we clean up a bit of moisture from the court here.
And New South Wales bench as well calling for that offensive interference, with Jones just dunking, and it was already over the rim, but the 2 will count.
Right call in the end. Minster and Abbott clearing it. They will keep possession here, New South Wales. Hand in from Le Gassick. Might have even been a foot. Making sure he doesn't knock it on here in this State of Origin clash. Wales, they found the shot they were looking for, but couldn't make it work. And Queensland bring it back down the court. Here's Panisi. Le Gassick for 3, and he hits it.
They cannot miss from long range early. That's number 6 already.
Unbelievable from Queensland. What a hot start from the perimeter.
6 of 8.
Putting this New South Wales side under serious pressure with that shooting. With Panisi. He thought he had possession of that one. The ref has called it a jump ball. And it looks like the possession arrow is pointing New South Wales' way. As Grifo comes onto the court and he'll take the possession straight away. So Grifo inbound. The shot's put up from the corner. It's no good. Jones collects it. Reset for Queensland. Maslin. Jones. Wide open. Oh, Panisi came in. Great rebound. Nearly finished it off. Drew a foul. But a lovely piece of play. The offensive rebound from Panisi. And giving his side a chance at another 2 points here. Really came in from nowhere. And did a great job. Had a fair bit of height advantage over the 3 New South Wales players vying for the rebound there, did Panisi. He started this game extremely well.
Stands at 203 centimetres. Harrison Panisi.
They've got some serious height in this Queensland team, and he is at the forefront of it.
Townsville local as well, so part of the world. Not quite beautiful Mackay, but not far from.
Equally beautiful Townsville. You can see New South Wales putting around. Watcher, good drive, but then couldn't get the flick out pass. Too many hands in there for Queensland, and a nice move. Finished. Oh no, it isn't.
Love the touch pass there from Maslin. Didn't come up with the bucket in the end, Queensland, but right idea.
And this is Brifo. He puts it over the top and gets it back. Has a look. And his foul is called on Queensland. So it'll be a sideline ball for New South Wales. They're flicking it around, looking for the right shot here, New South Wales. Both teams have been patient. The Queensland haven't had to be. They've just made everything they've looked at. New South Wales not getting caught up in that. It's Phil Minster. Misses that big corner. Queensland advance again. Extend this margin. It sits at 8. A minute left in the first quarter. Rush of hands there, but New South Wales has come up with it. Abbott brings it down. Brifo drives in and makes it. So he is making an immediate impact coming onto the court. Sabina, Brifo. Good start to this one for him. There's Le Gassick. Already made an impact from beyond the arc. Has this man for Panisi.
Be wide open.
Another look here for Gassick. Le Gassick. He makes another three-pointer, adds to the total.
He's had plenty of time to get his eye in this quarter. Le Gassick, that's his 4th three-pointer now, 4 of 4 from beyond the arc.
What a start for Queensland this has turned out to be. As we wind down for quarter time, can New South put a score in? They can't, so it'll be a 9-point margin at quarter time. Queensland with a hot start from the three-point line. And it is 29-20 here against New South Wales Blue. Pretty easy game to analyse from a scoring perspective, Liam. There's a pretty obvious discrepancy, and it's that three-point shooting.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 of 11 is the numbers. So, look, they've been red hot. That's obvious for all viewers at home, and impressive display from long range so far for Queensland. But something that we should note, Sean, as well, is that New South Wales have come into this game having played one more game. Of course, Queensland finishing on top of their pool and as a result won straight through to the quarters. And New South Wales, a quirk of the fixture really, they had to play their way through the crossover games, and in a way it probably was a result of coming up against that strong NBA Global Academy team. They fell to them on, I believe, the day 2. So look, their form looks pretty strong other than that, but it was a 90-49 loss there. So, just wonder whether that extra game, a bit more miles through the legs in this condensed tournament, could it make a difference? Quite possibly.
It's going to be interesting as the game wears on. As we've mentioned multiple times, the heat up here in Mackay is, as we've said, perfect for tourists, but does make it challenging for the players. So, particularly players who aren't used to that type of heat as well. You can see Coach Ashley Harrison there for New South Wales. He seems calm. He's just talking his players through where he wants to improve. I'm sure they know they're still in this contest. I guess that's the one positive when a team has lit up the 3 points shooting as Queensland have. I'm sure they're thinking, well, they couldn't possibly maintain this for the entirety of the match. And if they do, good luck to them. There's nothing you can do about it.
And New South Wales have been shooting the ball pretty effectively as well, really. 9 of 20, 45%. If you go at 45% from the field throughout the game, you're probably going to be thereabouts for a victory. So, look, they clearly can't sustain this three-point shooting, and I would say that, Coach Henderson wouldn't be too concerned if you're New South Wales. Just maybe cut down those wide-open, easy looks that Le Gassick is getting.
No, that was the issue, I suppose. It wasn't one player from Queensland. It was Le Gassick who hit a number of shots. Panisi hit a couple from the three-point line. Jones hit one as well. So that's the challenge for New South Wales. It's coming from multiple angles. They've got stars all over the court, Queensland. and they lead this one by 9 points at quarter time. What can New South Wales do to fight their way back into it? Le Gassick now will start us for the first possession of the second quarter. It's Gordon, who's found himself on the court. And a defensive foul, I think, called there. No, not a foul, but it will be a turnover. No, I correct myself for a third time. It was a foul in the end, so New South Wales take possession. Watch up. Finds the shot. Does New South Wales to Morris, but he misses. Came up short.
Oh, good pass. Gee, block from Morris as well. Good D.
Gassick did really well, as you mentioned, to find McVeigh screaming forward, but New South Wales, through Morris, were able to put a stop to it. Switch out here. This is Panisi again.
And I thought that's probably what they would have wanted to stop. Just too much space. He was able to step into an easy J in the end. Another three-pointer for Queensland.
Williams. Repo. Oh, nice little floating pass, but McWilliam couldn't find the possession in the turnover. He was affected by Queensland. And Maslin on Jordan. Pushes his way through. And then the rebound of his own shot, but can't make the second count. And Morris rises down, flicks it out nicely. But a miss from New South Wales, and there's the difference at the moment. 3-pointers not dropping for New South Wales in the way that they did for Queensland in that first quarter. Maslin covers the ball around his back nicely there. But he loses it, and Watcher comes up with it to Queensland. Brifo looked to move inside, he was fouled. So a nice move from New South Wales on the fast break there. They'll go to the line, trying to bring this back to a 10-point ball game. You can see Brifo was shaping up for the aesthetically looking dunk there. So we might have to keep an eye out for that as the game wears on, if he gets another opportunity. Much more workmanlike with his foul shooting there. After missing that one. It's amazing how often that happens when the shot is missed. Brifo to make it 10 points. This is again. And Queensland bring it down through Le Gassick, who drives forward. Very physical defence, causing a foul. And I think he'll find he'll go to the line for two.
Well, they're making him work for it on that occasion, Preston Le Gassick, and might be about time if you're the New South Wales coaching staff. He's had a few easy looks and taken advantage big time.
He's missed that first one. That was Mitchell who put the pressure on from behind Le Gassick there. He's onto the floor. New South Wales. Le Gassick made one for two. Here's Mitchell from the arc, and he hits it. So New South Wales will be hoping they can replicate a little bit of what Queensland had to offer in that first quarter from the arc. This was a remarkable piece of shooting as McKinnon has himself inside, but misses the three-point attempt. Across to Mitchell. He flicks it out. This is Morris. Can't make it work. And with both teams calling for a possession, Queensland win the argument. And off hands, the referee in the best spot to make the call. Craig brings it down the court. Queensland. Nicey pass that pays off, and Maslin ends up with a free look from long range. And as to be almost expected now from Queensland, he hits it.
Yeah, did well to draw some attention down the lane and passed it out to Maslin for an easy 3 in the end.
Mitchell again, not able to make it, but Brifo rebounded it and then lost the handle on it. And missed opportunity to New South Wales there in Queensland. Will regain possession. The changes being rung. Abbott back on the court for New South Wales. He's an important figure in that first quarter. They press up, keep pressure on the ball. Queensland find their way through. Le Gassick. Nice inside to Maslin, and he makes the shot. He felt like he deserved an extra one from the foul line.
Yeah, that was a tough finish. Over the top of the outstretched arm of Ignatius Mitchell. Not easy at all.
Norris. Out to Mitchell. Ratcher picks up the shot. And it's no good. And we've got a timeout call by New South Wales. Coach Henderson wants to have a chat to his troops. It's 14 points the margin here in the second quarter. Queensland carrying on the good form from that first quarter, Liam.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're creating easy looks as well, and maybe that's something I haven't quite touched on so far yet. We've spoken about how hot they've been from beyond the three-point arc, but they're getting easy looks. You know, a lot of drive and dish action, and they've got their feet set on every opportunity. So they can continue this sort of offense and continue getting these sort of looks for their players. They may not continue to shoot at 70% from three, Sean, but they'll go a long way towards continuing to score at a pretty decent clip.
Well, anybody watching from New South Wales will be hoping that's the case, that they're not able to maintain it. But as you said, they're giving themselves a chance by having those looks, and they're not making it. It's not like they've just been putting up Hail Marys and hoping for the best. They've been finding good positions, finding the shots, and executing to an extremely high level at this point in time. As you mentioned, you wouldn't expect them to be able to maintain that 70% rate through the game, but even at something like 50%, that's an elite level to be at, and it's going to make it very challenging for this New South Wales team to fight their way back. From their perspective, they need to find some more pressure in the defensive end and make sure they're not giving Queensland the easy looks that they're having so far.
And they've got options all over the floor, Queensland, as well. That's a big part of why they're able to create so much space. When you've got 5 guys who can all score inside, outside, it's just a lot to handle defensively.
As we have a look here, Jones finds his way through the defence and goes upstairs. A perfect example. Up the other end, McWilliams got his hand on it in the end. So a couple of dunks from big fellas in a row. And this game is lighting up. Le Gassick driving through, and the foul is called. This time on Mitchell. It'll be a sideline ball for New South Wales, for Queensland. You can see some New South Wales fans. Some signs in the stands there. On their team. Le Gassick. The way across, and a beautiful finish off the glass there from Le Gassick. A little bit off balance. He has been almost flawless so far in this one. Nice from New South Wales there. Down the open shot. It was McWilliams who finished it off. And then caused the issue. Well done, McWilliams. Good stretch of play. Didn't get the bucket though, New South Wales. They desperately needed. A little wild pass there from McKinnon that time. Couldn't be reeled in.
Yeah, it was trying to find the cutting relative, but probably asking a little bit much in the end then. Even if he had caught it, he would have been just about out of real estate.
So, what can New South Wales do here? They're finding themselves in the spotter bowler. They're 14 behind. Mitchell, nice pass inside. And a good finish there from Angus Olay. on the court for the first time today.
And Kai Statman as well checking in for the first time just moments ago.
No call on the play there. Bit of pressure. And Queensland finish it off. Who's the man who hit the deck just moments ago. Minster gets it out. Olay. Nice move, but he's been called. Possibly out of play there. Right in front of the Queensland bench. And they were happy to remind him of the mistake. The referee just suggesting they kick out of the play while they're on the bench. The real picture there, versatility of this Queensland team that you see. The likes of Blake Jones. Inbound, and the ball is a nice alley-oop. Not quite finished. Panisi, that is athletic from Panisi to finish that off.
They really can do no wrong at the moment, Queensland.
Nice drive there from the New South Wales team in Mitchell, but didn't quite finish it. Going up the other end, and 4 is becoming very easy as Statman gets on the back sheet. And a timeout is called by New South Wales. It's out to an 18-point lead here. 3 minutes 56 on the clock in this second quarter. Well, Queensland, this has been a super impressive performance so far.
Absolutely. Dominant 18-point lead already, and, you know, approaching half-time. It's a pretty commanding spot to be in a quarter-final, but just feel like even though the hot shooting from Queensland has been, you know, going at an unbelievable clip, and there's not a hell of a lot you can do about that, I do feel as though New South Wales Blue have just been unable to stop them from getting where they want to go. They've sort of had their way off the dribble. They haven't really troubled them too much in terms of, you know, making them pick up their dribble and pass it off. They've just kind of got what they've wanted to got and got their shot off. And they could just disrupt the Queensland offensive players a little bit more. That might go a long way towards bringing that field goal percentage down a bit.
It's sort of in contrast to the game we watched and called previous to this, the New South Wales WA girls game, the quarter-final. WA, we pushed New South Wales right to the very end. Of course, we're putting pressure on every play and every possession. And it's something that these New South Wales men need to improve. And take a look out of that to his book, I think, because, as you mentioned, the shooting percentage is through the roof. But there has been probably some reason for that. So, New South Wales, what can they do here to try and stem this tide of points?
Big 4 minutes coming up for New South Wales. They need to peg back this margin just a little bit.
Can't go in with anything like a 20-point margin. Swatcher to try and get that started. Go. Queensland come back down the court. Statman, who's had an impressive start to this tournament. He's been pretty quiet this game, but hasn't had to be too involved. As he finds McKinnon, another open shot. And this is this one. Again, though, they found the shot they were looking for, Queensland.
There wasn't a heap of resistance on that play.
Again, New South Wales need to tighten up. But he loses the handle. This is a fast break, so tough to defend in any case. And Le Gassick, as easy as you like, makes a layup for 2. Nothing too fancy. Just made sure the points went in the book. And we're out to a 20-point margin here. Queensland really putting the pressure on this New South Wales side. To Mitchell. A nice pass from Mitchell. Olay tries to hook, can't get it to go. And this is serious warning bells here from New South Wales. And Statman drives.
Yeah, it's more of the same, isn't it? I mean, Kai Statman just saw the defender a little bit out of position, took advantage, took him straight to the hole, and that's the sort of thing they got to stop. Plant your feet early, get in front, and stop the dribble. Because now he's headed to the line for an easy 2, hopefully, at the charity stripe for Queensland.
Statman, who's been a key player for this Queensland side through their first 2 games, hasn't had to have too much court time in this quarter-final so far. He's leading the side with in assists for the tournament with an average of 5. misses those two from the foul line. Queensland recover the ball. It's all going their way at the moment. Jones with the long range. Sorry, Panisi with the long range shot. Oh, this time though, what a play that is. Kilminster. A lovely finish.
Pull up three. That's the sort of play that can get your team lifted and up and about. Kilminster.
For the opening drive and finishes. Beautiful play from McKinnon. Again, the resistance perhaps a little questionable from New South Wales. Perhaps it's just a size thing, this Queensland team. Too big, too strong and too athletic at the moment. Kilminster again, looking to repeat the dose. No good this time.
Love the last three-pointer from Kilminster. It was a great shot, but with 2 minutes to go in the second period, you're going to be hoping there'd be a little bit more, hands involved. If that's what the offense has come to for New South Wales, it could be a long game.
Line in rhythm here, work their way back into the contest. Jones loses a handle, recovers and finishes nicely. And continues this trend of a team that is just too strong and too big with the post. The three-point shooting hasn't been quite as spectacular in this quarter. But the finishing has been very impressive as Statman. There's another assist. No, it's Maslin. Kicks it back to Panisi. And they finish it off. And Queensland are running amok. 23 points here with a minute to go in the second quarter. It's going to be interesting to see. As you mentioned, Queensland didn't have to play the crossover game. So we thought maybe with the day off, they might have been perhaps a little rusty or not as ready to go, but they've proven that certainly is not the right theory at all. Nice superior team here as Abbott drives in nicely, but misses. We just haven't seen that up the other end at all. Look out here, Maslin. Right down. And on the shot clock left, 20 on the game clock. Jones, we know he's happy to pull the trigger if required. He does so here. Misses. So there's 13 seconds on the game clock. They won't require the shot clock for this possession. New South Wales desperately need to find a basket and take some sort of momentum into the halftime break, because it has been very one-sided, unfortunately, in this second quarter.
It certainly has. 27-13 is the scoreboard here in this second period.
Queensland 40 basket with ease. Here's New South Wales. They've got 10 seconds now to take something into half-time. Abbott gets the drive. He has been fouled, so he will go to the line. Gives his team a chance. Can they pull this margin back to an even 20 and give themselves some sort of flicker of hope at half-time?
Well, something to keep an eye on. Blake Jones has got 3 personals for Queensland.
Well, that's surely a stat that New South Wales can look at and draw some hope from, because he is, of course, an absolute key to this Queensland team. 2 missed foul shots, though, not helping the cause for New South Wales. And Queensland have the chance to really stamp this first half with almost 5 seconds on the clock. Statman going to take it down quickly. He puts up the wild three. Ooh. And it nearly works off the bank, but it doesn't. So, at half-time, Queensland in a dominant position, 56-33 against New South Wales Blue. And Liam, Queensland looking every bit the contender in this tournament that we believe them to be.
Yeah, they've been really, really impressive. 51% from the field, 56% from three. They've got the 9 3-pointers to their name already, and just love the way that they slash and cut to the rim. They're a team of athletes, aren't they? So many slashes on this team. We know how good Jones is up and down the floor. Le Gassick's been fantastic with 17. He moves really well for a guard. They've just got athletes everywhere, and everyone is a scoring threat. New South Wales, on the defensive end, they just can't cope at the moment.
When you've got the height of Panisi and also Jones and Ruladov, but all over 200 centimetres and all, as you mentioned, super athletic. So there's no lumbering big man in this Queensland side. They're all contributing and making it life very, very difficult for that New South Wales defence. And as you mentioned, in that first half, unfortunately, they weren't able to cope in the way that they would have hoped. Let's see if they can turn it around, though. It's going to be a big second half and a huge day of basketball here on KO Freebies. You're enjoying the Under-20s Australian Junior Championships. We'll be back with the second half of this one between Queensland and New South Wales Blue after a short break.
Hey, do you remember that place we always talked about? You know, the place where kangaroos play down on the sand? And the forests are so ancient that they start to grow houses of their own? Remember, you said you wanted to drive all the way down to the edge where the desert meets the sea.
And you said you wanted to see the stars shine brighter in the skies than ever before, and that when you looked out towards the horizon, all you wanted to see was blue.
I think we just found it.
There's people everywhere looking at our stuff. Yeah. Like, there's always the technical people and stuff like that. Basketball Australia girls. Oh, look, there's the KO on the laptop going and showing the Queensland commercial. She goes, oh, yeah, we've got it on in the office all the time. It's cool. That's good. Yeah. It's going smoothly, yeah?
Yeah. They had a few hiccups in Melbourne today. The first game was got friends. There's something to do with the way Rob was capturing or recording the ISO cameras, and apparently the recording ISO cameras in the same environment and the same distance, and it's degrading the fingers. So we stopped it and also came good again, but it was like halfway through the first day.
welcome back to Mackay here, the under 20s Australian Junior Championship, Basketball Australia's under 20 Championship. It's an exciting game we are watching between Queensland, who are dominating at the moment, and New South Wales. But before we get back into the game, important few messages to get through. Basketball Australia, of course, putting on these tournaments and can't do so without the support of their wonderful partners, and it's great to see so many corporate partners supporting the game of basketball. All fans will know how important it is to have these partnerships, so make sure you support those supporting the sport that we all love in basketball, and helping us bring you these championships here on KO, of course. Exciting to be able to highlight junior basketball, elite junior basketball in this country to such a broad audience here on KO. Great chance too, if you're enjoying the Australian Championships, to purchase some merchandise. You can do so from the comfort of your lounge room on the website there, AussieBasketballStore.com/AusChamps. In there, they've got hoodies, t-shirts, stock, all sorts of things. And of course, if you've got a favourite player or you're following a family member, you might want to take a memento home as well. Sports in Focus, just get your QR code out there and scan that code off. As we get underway here in the third quarter, New South Wales looking to fight their way back into this game. What can they do to work their way in? As Abbott looks to get them off to a flying start. Can't make it, and McKinnon for Queensland. Another of the dangerous players. There are so many on this court for Queensland. And they've put on a clinic in this first half as Le Gassick finds an opening and then flicks it out. The three-point shot was put up there by Rodalef. Didn't go though. Abbott driving. And it will be New South Wales ball. So, New South Wales maintaining possession here. They need to get off to a quick start in this second half. Try and bridge some of this gap. I'm sure Coach Henderson told his troops they don't have to look to make up the 23 in the first 5 minutes, but they do need to get off on the right foot. As Le Gassick has a drip, the foul is eventually called, and the coup will count. And an extra shot coming up for Queensland. So, just the start that New South Wales didn't want, and it's Jones who will go to the line. He's a serious athlete in this tournament, of course, already playing in the NBL. And he makes the three-point play and extends that lead for Queensland. New South Wales, can they find a way back into this one? Kilminster with the wild three-point shot, nearly made it. And a nice clean-up there from Harry Morris. So that's a good play from New South Wales. They need to build some momentum here in this third quarter. Bridge this imposing gap as Jones tries to get through. He can't do it, but he is fouled. And he hung on the ring for effect. But there was no score there. So Jones will go to the line for two. Great pass there from Maslin into the scoring lane. And Jones. This one. Very, very experienced Australian Junior Championships player, this man. 86th tournament. And he makes no mistake there. 60-35 is the score. And New South Wales trying to stop this flood of scoring early in the third quarter. As Kilminster gets it off to McWilliams. And the foul, I think, has been called here. So McWilliams will go to the line for two. And he will attempt to bridge this margin somewhat.
Jack McWilliams obviously made his Boomers debut earlier this year in the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. The young Boomers team that played in that one with many of the NBL players out of action.
Well, he's a man with experience, and he makes it count there with 2 from 2.
He's 17 years of age as well, Jack McWilliams, 214 centimetres tall, so fair presence down low.
As McKinnon makes a nice little bucket there for Queensland. And the scoring up their end of the court continues to flow. New South Wales, nice there, and it's that man McWilliams again. No, he's starting to stamp himself on this contest, but this is the end of the court they really need to work at. As Queensland get the 3-point shot, but can't make it. So, the possession without a score for Queensland, and it's the start for New South Wales as Watcher comes in and makes the bucket. Good strong play on the drive there. Can they get 2 in a row here and find a stop? Maslin, no they can't. Quite the opposite. Maslin makes a great finish, is fouled and has a chance to make it 3 points. They've just got weapons all over the court, this Queensland team. It's very exciting to watch.
Yeah, they're a team of slashers, and here's yet another example. Shouldn't have had that much space cut into the rim, though, Boston Maslin. A little too easy.
Well, you do get caught up watching the likes of Jones, Panisi. This man Maslin has been just fantastic through this tournament. And continuing on his merry way here in this sort of final clash between Queensland and New South Wales Blue. This is a great shot from Abbott there. Fantastic. Making the 3-pointer.
Much needed 3 for New South Wales. Much different story as well from beyond the 3-point arc. 25% they're going at compared to Queensland at about 50.
They'll need to look to lift that rate, but it is this end of the court that they really need to go to work, New South Wales. They need to put some pressure on this Queensland team. Scoring has become far too easy. That's a good start. Got the ball back here. So another possession without a score for Queensland. And New South Wales, there's a good drive from Kilminster. Eventually, they find the basket.
Well, back to within 20 points, or under 20 points rather, New South Wales. So they're on the right track. Still a long way back, but plenty of time left in this game.
And a strip. No. Just for a minute, I thought that was going to be a big play from Harry Morris. On the big man Jones too. Would have been a team lifter, but the foul was called. And the referee had a better vantage point than the commentary box, so we'll have to put our faith in them that they were right there as Le Gassick drives and a beautiful step under. What a finish. Fantastic play from Preston Le Gassick. And he is a serious player. And they're everywhere you look on this Queensland team, they really are.
Yeah, the boy from the Gold Coast, Preston Le Gassick, he has been probably the man to stop in this game so far. Best on court, I would have thought, to this point.
As Jones goes for the very long range pass.
Gee.
Calls a turnover. Maslin not happy.
Quarterback style pass there from Jones. Probably didn't need to take that much of a risk though.
It's probably something they need to be a little wary of here, and I'm sure head coach Peter Crawford, an experienced basketball man, will be making sure we don't go into the sort of razzle-dazzle showtime business too early here, Queensland, because they did dominate that first half, but it is only 21 points the margin, so it's not a complete blowout just yet.
Yeah, and with that lead as well, no need to really risk turnovers, just bring up the floor and go about your business. As we got New South Wales heading to the charity stripe now for 2.
Well, especially when we've seen the ease at which Queensland have been able to score. They really don't need to be taking risks of that nature. But McWilliams in the meantime, working on a bit of beard action too, the 17-year-old. Pretty impressive for a man of his age. And match it with a shot here he can. So McWilliams is working his way into this game, and that is a big positive for New South Wales. As you mentioned, maybe Boomer's debut earlier this year. he's a player of the future to look out for. As we've seen McKinnon. Nice spin and then found a gap out, but missed the pass. Look at Benisi.
Rare turnover for Queensland, just their ninth so far in this game, so done a pretty good job looking after the rock.
Certainly have done that. But it is something New South Wales can improve on. They've got that margin under the important 20 mark. And if they can score this possession, might be putting a bit more pressure on as Watcher. One still Minster. He puts it out. This is Abbott. Nice spin from Abbott. And the shot. Really nicely played from the big man. Very athletic. The New South Wales have put on a little bit of pressure here. Queensland will be looking to respond. And Maslin pulls up and does just that. Fantastic play from Queensland. And at every turn, they have made buckets when they counted. You can see a substitution here.
They really are a modern basketball team, aren't they, Queenslanders? As cliche as that sounds, everyone can go inside, everyone can step outside to the three-point arc. Extremely versatile lineup, athleticism all over the place.
They have players that look like they should be playing in an old-fashioned position, but they certainly don't play like it, as you said, William. They've got athleticism down to every player. It's fantastic to watch. Not so fantastic to play against, I'm sure, for New South Wales, but they are fighting on here in the third quarter.
It's been a better third term for New South Wales, as that was probably an unnecessary three to give up, and you cannot give that man any space.
And then Le Gassick, who found the open shot very easily. And just as we were singing the praises of the third quarter for New South Wales, a very big lapse in concentration. Abbott trying to answer it back. Good rebound and tipped in as well. So New South Wales through Zeke Evans. Able to fight back a little bit here. He'll go to the line for a three-point play. Evans. And he does it. So, New South Wales Blue, they're hanging around here in this third quarter. They're doing a good job fighting on. Not letting that margin get any bigger from half-time, and in fact, they've cut it. And as you see, a loss of footing there. Did well not to travel. McKinnon just drove his body through and gave himself a very easy shot. Some dramatic play there from New South Wales, but it doesn't eventuate.
Brifo did well, yeah.
Got the hand in. Now they need to score here. Kilminster and Brifo. And then upstairs went Evans.
Yeah, not sure if he needed to go the alley-oop attempt there. There's another three-pointer for Preston Le Gassick.
Le Gassick, he is a man on a mission here today. And what a time to call a timeout. Le Gassick gone up at the defensive end twice this quarter already to add to his first half of 3 points.
25 is up to now, Le Gassick, 6 of 7 from beyond the arc.
It's been a show. It has been a show from the whole team, but he has led it from the arc, Le Gassick. He's been fantastic. And a couple of times in this quarter, New South Wales have left him open, and he's proven that is a fatal error. So it's Queensland leading this one halfway through, or with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. They're up by 26 points. As we mentioned, New South Wales have been able to fight on well here in this third quarter. They haven't been able to cut into that margin like they would have liked to, though. Queensland, a couple of times coming down the floor, making 3 points count. And both coaches will be calling on their charges to come out of this timeout. 3 minutes here. And you have to say, if New South Wales can come out and cut this margin significantly in the 3 minutes, they might breathe some life into this game. If Queensland are able to either maintain or push ahead.
It's just about last chance saloon, I think, for New South Wales. And as a result, they're going to have to push all their chips to the forefront. All guns blazing here. What can they do? Can they go on an 8-0 run, a 10-0 run, force a couple of steals? somehow make it interesting going into the last period.
That's exactly what they need. And we hope from a neutral standpoint that's what they produce. We'll start with the ball. Kilminster, who's been an impressive player in the guard position. Brifo, we saw a little bit of what he can do. That steal in the last play. And this is Abbott from the corner. Would have been a great start for New South Wales. This is Le Gassick. Is someone going to stop him? Can't get the shot up this time, but McKinnon gets the play into McVeigh, and McVeigh is able to make the two-pointer from under the post. And they're not able to get that tap to turn off down the Queensland offensive end at the moment. New South Wales.
No.
It's causing them many headaches. Three-point shot. Heavy bounce off the rim from Kilminster. And he does well. Zeke Evans under the ring. Finishes it off for New South Wales. Well, he's had a couple of good moments in this quarter, Zeke Evans. This is the end that's causing them more trouble this time. I think it was Evans again with a great block. Fantastic play from New South Wales. Can they make it count with a score? Kilminster, he does.
Been one of the better players today for New South Wales, Evan Kilminster.
Great team lifter there from Evans, and then Kilminster finishing it off. Can they build some momentum out of the back of that play? This is great. And Le Gassick. Not allowed the room this time. McVeigh twisting and turning. Le Gassick, lovely step. And Spinify finish it. As the shot clock rings out. Okay, another stop from New South Wales. Ricco. Happy with the treatment, and I think he's drawn a foul here. He claimed he was shooting, and he won the argument.
Well, Sean, have you ever seen an orange-sided skink?
No, I can't say I have. I've been here in Mackay for the week, and I haven't seen one yet.
Well, those are the sort of things you can catch at Ewan-Geller National Park, about an hour west of Mackay. It is a huge subtropical rainforest, over 51,000 hectares. So it's a beautiful part of the world, and Ewan-Geller is the indigenous word up that part of Australia for land of the clouds.
It's a beautiful part of the world. Just an hour away here from Mackay. So a very easy trip out there, and a natural wonder to check out for sure as Brifo makes a nice shot there. Back at the ball game, and this is Statman, who's another one of these Queensland players that has impressed throughout the tournament. Nice ball here. And the Queensland bench are up and about. I don't think that two will count. Gassick will go to the line. The boy from the Gold Coast, no doubt. All the TVs in the clubs at Cavalab will be tuned into KO this week. He makes the extra point, so the two did count. And the lead for Queensland is extended now.
Well, they best be watching, because he has been unbelievable. And Queensland look like a real chance here to go deep into this tournament, and he'll be one of the reasons why.
No doubt about that. Both the men's and the women's Queensland sides are exciting to watch. And they're, of course, the home states for this tournament. Great to have such competitive teams from the home state. Really builds something to the tournament, brings something to the tournament, an excitement level. You see it in the FIFA World Cup when home nations are able to make a run through the tournament, what it does for the entire place, and Queensland teams here at the under-20s doing a similar job. Making no mistake there. Certainly held up his end of the bargain in this game for New South Wales. Very nice to keep him too. Batman not wasting any time, getting straight down the other end. Le Gassick, a little bit of a party trick pass back out to Jones. Can't make it work, but Panisi brings down the O rebound. And Statman wide open. Panisi again. 2 offensive rebounds in a matter of seconds for Panisi. From Queensland, looking to put a cherry on top of this third quarter. Le Gassick, great defense from Abbott.
Nice play.
Was able to stop him. That's more like it for New South Wales.
Yeah, it's a sort of defence we haven't seen too much of from the visitors.
They've certainly improved this third quarter. They've been much more engaged down the defensive end. We've seen a few blocks, a few hands in. It's been a much better performance.
A real high-scoring third period as well, up to 53 combined points from the two teams.
A high-scoring game. Timeout called here. 15 seconds on the clock for Queensland. The shot clock is down to 2 as well, so this is where the coach loves to draw up that miracle play. Sure, that's what Coach Qrter will be looking for here. Time on the clock. The margin, as we've mentioned, is at 24 points, so it's been pretty stagnant for this third quarter, Liam, and that's been a good thing for New South Wales. It hasn't blown out any further because it was threatening to in that second quarter.
Certainly been an improved showing from them, as you said, Sean. 3 players in double digits now for New South Wales. Kilminster, who we've caught a lot, up to 12. Morris as well with 14 and 6 has been good. And the big man, Jack McWilliams, 11 points in just 16 minutes of game time.
He's been a presence in this third quarter, McWilliams. He's made a good influence on this game. So the players rejoin the court. 15 seconds on the clock in this third quarter, as I mentioned. Gassick will be the inbound. Found Jones, but he couldn't get a handle on it. And now, Grifo brings it down, and Evans, and the foul is drawn. Evans will go to the line with 2 shots. Another player for New South Wales who's impressed in this third quarter, Zeke Evans. Big block earlier in the quarter. A couple of good drives as well. And has a chance here to extend on his scoring so far in this game.
Well, Queensland, 83 points in this game already, obviously, and they have been a really high-scoring team throughout this tournament so far. Put up 119 against the ACT and 89 against Tassie as well. So looks like they're well on their way to breach the 100-point mark yet again.
Well, we've spoken about their versatility, and it's one of their strengths. It means that you don't know where to stop as Statman puts up a 3-point, and then
big block.
The offensive rebound, but blocked. So that'll be the third quarter done and dusted. It's 23 points the difference. Queensland maintaining a good lead, 83-60 for New South Wales Blue. And while it was an improved quarter, 23 points is a big margin heading into the third three-quarter time break.
It certainly is, and the Queenslanders on their home deck up here in beautiful Mackay. They have been red hot in red hot Mackay. 28 degrees today, and they have shot the lights out from 3-point range. And that's been the story, really. I mean, look, 9 of 15 in the first half. They slowed down just a touch there in the third, but still shooting the 48% from beyond the arc in this one, Sean.
They do have a few players, this Queensland team, from Townsville and northern Queensland as well, so the weather and the humidity up here and the fatigue won't be as much of an issue for those players who no doubt are adapted to that, having grown up and played in these conditions through their junior career. So that is an advantage for both Queensland teams this week. They'll look to exploit it, and as we've mentioned, both teams really have been very competitive and look like they're in these championships up to their neck.
And it's been the Gold Coast boy, Preston Le Gassick, 28 points to his name, 10 of 15 from the field. He's barely missed a shot, 6 of 7 from 3. Couple of steals as well. He's been the standout so far for Queensland.
And what about that man, Blake Jones? We spoke about him before the game. An absolute key part of this Queensland team. He's a proven star at this level. How's he performed today?
Oh, he's been good. 13 and 8 as well. A steal, a couple of assists, and probably hasn't needed to really step up to the plate offensively. His teammates have been doing so much, but a lot of offense runs through him, Jones, and he gets up and down the floor so well for a man of his size.
He's a serious athlete. It'll be interesting to see if this margin is maintained for the first 3 or 4 minutes, if maintained or extended by Queensland, what they do with their bench and whether they do ring the rotations, give a few players a few breaks, because it is, of course, Wednesday. The tournament wraps up Friday, so there's 2 big games to come after this. If they're able to get through this game, as it looks like they may, but it will happen quickly, so you want to get as much rest into these players as you can, particularly the keys. It's been one of those impressive things for Queensland. They bring on players like McVeigh and Statman from the bench, and they are just as impressive as the starting lineup. So they're a full complement of good players, Queensland. Let's see what they'll do in the last quarter here as Jones, the man we've spoken about, passes off to Statman. He spins, puts up the shot. He'll make it work, and Watcher ends up with it for New South Wales. That was Evans again with the rebound. For the right option here, New South Wales. This is Moore. Drives in, and Gassick with the big block.
Doing it on both ends.
Fantastic play. Stratman takes it down. He's fouled. He was looking for the big dunk there, I think. Couldn't quite get to the rim, but that was due to the illegal pressure, which is not the official foul given, but you get what I mean. So Statman finishes it nicely.
Well, you can catch the rest of this finals run right here on KO Freebies. Stay with us right through the couple of games coming after this as well today, and we will be bringing you, of course, the gold medal game as well on Friday evening. That's going to be a lot of fun.
There's nowhere you'd rather be, well, short of being here in Mackay, of course, than on your couch at home, tuning into KO all week for the Under-20 Championship. As Morris puts up an unlikely looking shot, nearly made it work. Evans brings down the rebound. So much junior basketball action here on KO. 2 weeks ago, the Under-18 Championships. There's a bit of a wild one there from Morris. May have been fouled on the way through. And of course, the Under-20s this week. Fantastic to have elite junior basketball from this country available free, of course, on KO Freebies. Plenty of basketball action being live streamed from the other courts too on Basketball Australia's live stream YouTube channel. Yeah,
it's a great opportunity to see the next wave, the next generation of young stars of Australian basketball. Your future NBL, WNBL, NBA, WNBA players will be playing in this tournament. And of course, there's a real golden era at the moment for Australian basketball. Many of them started here.
Great opportunity for you to impress your mates too. Give on to someone who's going to be the next big thing, the next Ben Simmons, next Liz Cambridge. Might be this man, Jones. Flicks it out to Panisi, who started the whole thing really with his three-point shooting in the first quarter. He was very impressive early. There's Morris. Nice little 1-2, gets it back. Watcher drives and goes the alley-oop. Evans couldn't quite finish it.
Would have been pretty.
And Statman, there's a lot of driving to the basket now.
Oh dear, hope he hasn't injured himself there. Looks to be a touch, Ginger. And the wrist he seems to be clutching at. There's that alley-oop attempt once again.
That's Harry Morris there, who's been an important big man player for this New South Wales team. Coaches come on the court to put him off. They're being told off you get by the referee. And Statman will take the shots here.
Seven points per game so far this tournament for Kai Statman.
he's one of these Queensland players that comes off the bench, and as mentioned, they don't miss a beat. It looks like every bit the star of the starting five as well.
His 5th time he's representing Queensland at the national champs, so real veteran, if you like, of the program.
Anisi able to bring down the O rebound. Not able to make the bucket though. And Abbott brings it down to New South Wales. Out about the inside pass. Thought better of it. They eventually work it in. Evans put up a shot. It doesn't go. And Maslin has found himself back on the court. Excitement machine. He was fouled there on his way through. So 7 minutes 16 on the clock here. 86-62. Queensland a comfortable lead. As New South Wales bring the changes. With Williams comes back on the court. As does Kilminster. And Mitchell as well. But it's Queensland with the ball. And Maslin flicks it out. Anisi in and out. Another one of those big men, over 200 centimetres, who's not afraid to pull the trigger from the perimeter. And we saw early in the first quarter. He's well and truly justified to do so, as Watcher drives nicely in. He'll go to the line for 2 points. 2 shots, I should say. Attempted 2 points. Look at the replay here. Lost balance, but was able to recover himself.
I hope you brought your hiking boots, Sean, because Uwangella National Park, we've got 22 kilometres of existing bushwalking tracks through one of the most beautiful rainforest-clad mountains in the world, right here in our home country of Australia.
22 kilometres of it. That is a big walk.
Your best pack a water bottle or two.
I might have to wait till after the tournament ends. Probably might be able to get out of bed for a couple of days after that. In the meantime, a great shot from Queensland. Another 3-pointer. And this game is out of the reach of New South Wales now. Nice step back there. And hits it. Beautiful play there from Kilminster. He's made a couple of 3-point shots with that step back. Caught the eye of both myself and Liam Allison here from the commentary box.
He's been a highlight today for New South Wales in an otherwise pretty dull afternoon. Kilminster 15 points, and that's some nice highlight plays.
Dominating on the defensive boards now too in this quarter. Really maintaining possession well. There's Jones. Maslin. This time they get a bit of luck, but they do get it back. Jones looking for the pass inside. Again, they recover the ball. He steps back nicely, the big man. They can't make a 3-point shot. And Mitchell covers it for New South Wales. And they'll reset through Watcher. So Watcher. Nice pass into McWilliams. Mitchell, they're flicking it round.
Feeling it.
Oh, and yes, if you don't mind, Kilminster makes it 2 on the trot. And it's back to 20 points here. 5 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes 20 on the clock. They just want to be a little bit careful here, Queensland. They seem to have gone a little casual in the last minute or so.
He's hit 5 threes in the game now as well, Evan Kilminster.
They're going to get another chance here, New South Wales. They're feeling a little bit of a run. Mitchell drives, can't force the error from Queensland. And they go up the other end, and it was a great move from Statman, but then the ball came out the hand at the wrong angle. And it's McVeigh who drives into the basket. Gallardo, sorry, that was. So, another step back here. Kilminster again. Tech foul's been called. And it may have been on the coach here. He's certainly looking bemused. Coach Henderson. I think it's fair to say, Liam, he doesn't agree with that call.
Certainly appears that way.
And we'll go right down the other end. And Maslin will take the two shots.
Well, Queensland's offense has been flowing throughout this entire game, and maybe one of the few positives here for New South Wales is the second half has been better. It was 27 apiece in the third period, and they've held Queensland to just the 8 points so far in this fourth period.
Be a big effort for New South Wales if they are able to, with 4 minutes on the clock, hold Queensland to under 100. That's a little goal perhaps they can set their target for.
They went 29, 27, 27 the previous three quarters,
Very
Queensland.
Heavy scoring Queensland, and we've seen there wasn't one source either. It was coming from everywhere. A nice shot there made from the three-point arc from Mitchell. So they have been able to maintain this pressure in the second half. New South Wales has been a much improved second half. Gassick, right from the foul line there is Qrter making the three-pointer. You don't get the sense they're eating into more than 20 points here in New South Wales, but they are fighting on as Abbott opens and makes the three-pointer. Mid-range. Always look very hard work, those mid-range three-pointers, for not much reward, don't they?
Certainly on that occasion, it took a while to drop through the hole, rattled around and bobbled in eventually.
Qrter again for three. Jones brings it down. And they can reset through Le Gassick. Qrter. We'll count that as a pass, I think. And Jones finished it off. So Queensland maintaining this dominance of about 20, 22 points. As Abbott tries to cut it to 19, and he does. So a nice piece of play from Abbott there. Ryan Abbott. Comes across to Peachy. He goes inside. Qrter. That was a bit too easy there. The disapproving groan of Liam Allison there, highlighting the ease at which Queensland scored that basket.
We saw a lot of that in the first half as well. They've cleaned that up a bit, I reckon, New South Wales in the second.
No, they've been better defensively, as you said. It was a very heavy scoring and easy scoring first half. 1 minute 30 to play in this one, and the margin is 19 points. So maybe that's another little target for New South Wales. Try to keep this under 20. Of course, it's a cutthroat quarter-final, so there's no percentage or for and against counting. Le Gassick finds a way through, and that was too easy. Qrter again.
Nice passing from the Queenslanders brings them up to the 100-point mark.
Well-deserved three-digit score for Queensland. They've been very, very impressive at the offensive end tonight, or today, I should say.
Good test as well in this one for Queensland. They had a couple of big wins over maybe some of the slightly more on-demand teams in the tournament in Tassie and the ACT, but this New South Wales Blue team, certainly no easy beats, and they've to be leading here currently by 21. It's been a pretty dominant display.
No, it has been. It's been impressive. No doubt about that. As a nice shot put up there from New South Wales. And that was Robert Moore with the three-pointer. More of that, please. His teammates will be saying, as Le Gassick bullocks his way across the halfway line. Qrter. McKinnon, and McKinnon makes it, and he'll go to the line for the third. So a nice bit of play from Max McKinnon.
New South Wales as well, to be sitting here at 82 points, I mean, that's a pretty good offensive effort from them. I mean, they've shot 42% from the field. 82 points will win you a lot of games in this tournament, but it has just been that defense that's let them down, as we have harped on about it a bit throughout the game, but it has clearly been the difference.
McKinnon, the current Basketball Australia Centre of Excellence player, makes the three-point play there. There's another one of these Queenslanders that create this wrecking team. A wild pass from New South Wales. It'll be a turnover. We're inside the last 75 seconds of this one. This is my last game for the day too, so I might go for that walk you suggested up at Wollongalla National Park later on here. Now we're out of Mackay, of course. As McKinnon tries to the basket, makes the two. Nicely done. 21 points the margin here. There's a minute to play in the last quarter. New South Wales. Can they take some positive vibes? Yes, they can. Beautiful cut through there from Kilminster. He's been one of their better players on the court tonight. There's Ularda makes another layup there for Queensland. So it's really end-to-end stuff now. Hard to keep up inside the last minute. Mitchell off the glass. Nicely judged shot. McKinnon says, that'll do, boys. We'll slow it right down now. And as a commentator, I'm thankful for it. So this will be close to the last play for Queensland. Le Gassick. It'll be fitting to see him finish this game off with a three-pointer. He goes for it. It's a long range. He doesn't make it. And that'll be all she wrote. Nope. Off a stop. There's been a whistle on play. I must have missed it. New South Wales will take possession of the ball. So the final 15 seconds. Doesn't look like they're going to even play it out. It's going to be Queensland. There might be a final shot, depending on the feeling of the players. There isn't. It's a 21-point margin, and it was a very comfortable victory, Liam Allison, for the men in maroon today.
Impressive performance from the home team. The Queenslanders, they shot the absolute lights out in the first quarter. Their athleticism, their ability to cut to the rim, kick and dish out for an open three. Offensively, they were absolutely humming all game long, and Preston Le Gassick led the way as well with 28 points, 6 3-pointers and 7 assists, 2 steals as well. He was, I think you would say, the best player on the floor for Queensland, but they had contributors everywhere. 6 players hit double digits. Blake Jones was 15, Maslin was 17, and Panisi off the bench as well had 15 points. And for New South Wales, unfortunately, the defensive effort at times just wasn't quite there. Despite the fact they were able to put up 86 points for the game, still falling by 21 points. Evan Kilminster was fantastic with 20, I thought. Harry Morris chipped in with 16, but Queensland, they will go through to the